Yes.
Correct. Are hot sauce and jalapenos available on the chicken sandwiches, the fish sandwich, or the flame grilled sandwiches?
No. Wait. I mean, yes.
Astonishing. Correct. Burger King has endless ways to customize your meal and have it your way. And now kids of all ages can add a limited edition toy. Ask your server for a toy and get one free with every meal. Only while supplies last. Burger King. Grilling in Cayman for 40 years.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Breakfast is back this Saturday, March 25th, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. Enjoy a tasty Caribbean breakfast of fried fish and fritters, liver and onions, ackee and saltfish, along with turtle gumbo and turtle stew starting at only $12. And help support your community. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman supports sight screening, prostate and colon cancer awareness, Miss Teen, Spelling Bee, and so much more. Get your Caribbean breakfast and support the Lions Club of Grand Cayman in their community efforts. This Saturday, March 25th, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Friday, the 24th day of March 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. I know for some of you, it really wasn't that enjoyable because of the traffic situation heading to the eastern districts, but we'll talk about that a little bit more this morning as well, because some of you this morning experienced the same difficulties at the same spot that the difficulty was yesterday evening. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But, before we start to complain, and let's just have some greetings for you. So we hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, and yes, we know some of you are going to be delayed. Traffic is going to be slow, but we still urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. And the rules of the road, including driving, we will have to continue to stress now when you are transporting cargo on your vehicles, either commercially or on private vehicles. They should be stored properly. That is why, one of the reasons why we still need to have more road patrols, so that when these breaches of the law are being committed, there's someone out there who will stop you. But for some reason, we, the authorities in the Cayman Islands, have ignored the traffic situation. They have put a deaf ear to the pleas and the cries to do something about the traffic situation in the Cayman Islands. We're going to get to that later on as well. So for those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts proudly brought to you today, again, by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to you is to live your best life and make sure your family can too. And we have several birthday greetings going out today as well. Belated birthday greetings also, and some birthdays that are coming up on the weekend. So we will share those with you in a second as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Radio voice of Mr. Paul Akal, Silver Fox, waiting to take your calls. You can call us on a toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at For the Record, one word, For the Record, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to Radio Cayman live stream. We're also on Facebook as well. And to remind you that this segment of the For the Record birthday shoutouts proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice today to you is to live your best life and make sure your family can too. So let's start out with birthday greetings. So yesterday, Mr. Edward Myrie celebrated a birthday, and this person says, I would like to send happy birthday greetings to my uncle, Edward Myrie, who celebrated his birthday yesterday. Birthday greetings coming from your niece, Rose Myrie, praying God's richest blessings on you. And the person also wanted to thank Radio Cayman for this our service and for the birthday shout-outs as well. Also, celebrating a birthday yesterday, we had MP, Miss Barbara Jackson, who celebrated her birthday yesterday, and we know that she got her birthday going off on the right foot as well, because at 5 o'clock yesterday morning, she was out there doing her usual walk as well. So again, belated birthday greetings to Miss Barbara Jackson. Also, today's birthday greetings, we have Miss Patrianne Smith. No, sorry. Today's greetings, Keisha Irvin, Jada Smith, Jessica Bryan. They're all celebrating birthdays today. So this person says, we'd like to send greetings to Patrianne Smith, whose birthday is on Sunday, March the 26th. Greetings coming from her husband, Rohan, children, Kaya, Priscilla, Shante, O'Shane, and your grandchildren. Also your sisters, Cherry-Ann, Anna, brothers Vince, Victor, and the rest of your family. And they say to you, may God bless you with many more birthdays. They all love you, and they also said your age, but you should never ask a woman, they say you should never ask a woman her age, and I'm not going to announce her age here on Radio Cayman, even though the family has shared it with us. She will be celebrating her birthday tomorrow. Let's find the other ones as well. Today's Keisha Irvin, Jada Smith, Jessica Bryan, and we have Kelia Scott, also celebrating a birthday. I believe that I have gotten all of them in, but let me make sure that we have covered everyone. So today, on Sunday, Miss Patrianne Smith, Keisha Irvin today, Jada Smith today, Jessica Bryan today, yesterday Mr. Edward Myrie, yesterday Miss MP, Miss Barbara Connolly as well. So folks, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we return, we'll have about 10-12 minutes. Then we will have the 8 o'clock news. We will have His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper, in the studio with us at 8:15. I would say to you that I'm sure that during the course of the show he will take calls. But depending on the length of time that he's going to be here, everyone may not get the opportunity to call in. So I would encourage you, email us, for the record, one word, for the record, at candw.ky. If you have any questions or any comments, and if you want to identify yourself, then we can do so as well. Also, WhatsApp us 925-3261, and we will share your comments or your questions with the governor. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Captain Charles Garfield Farrington, 1895 through 1980. Captain Charlie went to sea when he was 16. He learned navigation, and at the age of 21, he was the youngest turtling captain sailing from Tampa during the time of the wooden ships and iron men. During World War II, he was one of the men who kept those at home connected to the outside world. Following the 1932 hurricane, Captain Charlie, master of the MV Nonoka, of his own volition, carried fresh water and food to Cayman Brac, the first help to arrive. He made representations through American friends to the United States government to allow Caymanian men, once they had a job offer, to enter the United States. This arrangement benefited many families. Captain Charlie was always ready to pass on his knowledge to other aspiring seamen as long as they were attentive, willing, and hardworking. He served 2 terms as a vestryman. He and his wife, the former Miriam Amanda Hides, had 4 children. Wherever he went, he was known as an honest, frank, intelligent, unprejudiced, punctual, loyal man. The late Miss Annie Hulda Bodden called him the most honest man I know.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it.
So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Now is your chance for big savings on all GE appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. Shop now through the 31st and save 15% on all GE appliances, laundry centers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, wall ovens, beverage centers, wine coolers, hoods, and more. Now through the 31st at Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park. Don't miss this chance to save 15% on all GE appliances. Hurry in today and save big. And also find fantastic deals on scratch and dent appliances.
They say you only live once. I say you only die once. But you live every day. I'm Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, longtime supporter of Radio Cayman. Live your life, my friends. Happiness is in the journey, not the destination. When you're ready, I'm here to support you with the best financial decisions for your family's future. Cayman Insurance Center, protecting you and your family so you can take back your future. I'm Michael Webster, the sure way to protect your family. Call me when you're ready at 925-5433. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets.
Think life insurance.
System 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Remember, at 8:15 we will have His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper, in the studio with us. If you have any questions, comments, if you want to say farewell greetings to him as well. Some of you may have the opportunity to call in. Others may not. We encourage you, email For the Record at candw.ky or WhatsApp us 925-3261 as well. And folks, well, first I'm going to share this because these are coming. This is coming from her fans. Good morning, Mr. Connor. We would like to send a very happy birthday when it comes tomorrow to the one and only country music star, Miss Susan. Coming from her number one fans in East End. And of course, Miss Susan, our own Radio Cayman, Miss Susan Watson, is celebrating her birthday tomorrow, the 25th, as well. So we will be wishing her a happy birthday. What I would say is those people in East End, if you're baking any cakes to send to Miss Susan, she's on vacation, but I'm sure that the staff here at Radio Cayman will take care of the cakes for her. They will happily represent her as well. And I believe at one point in time in acknowledging MP Barbara Connolly's birthday yesterday, I may have called her Barbara Jackson as well. Now, that may have been some sort of a Freudian slip, or it could be as a result of my aging as well. But I do, one of my colleagues at when I was at immigration, she was Barbara Jackson at that point in time, so I probably, confused the two, or it just came out of my mouth. So, folks, have about 4 minutes before we go to the 8 o'clock news, the traffic situation. The fact that we are ignoring some of the traffic issues that are happening in Cayman. And what I see is happening, we have this huge debate about gambling in the Cayman Islands now, whether or not we should legalize it. Remember when gambling started in the Cayman Islands, the numbers in particular, because there were other forms of gambling. There were some of the big shots in the Cayman Islands in those days. They would go to either a doctor or a dispenser's house and sit down and gamble and play poker and stuff like that. But that was all done privately. But when the numbers thing started in the Cayman Islands, we basically ignored it. We allowed it to happen. And it has ballooned to the point now where number sellers are being targeted by criminals. So you have a knock-on effect of the numbers thing. We're seeing the same thing with the traffic situation. We're getting a knock-on effect to it. People are complaining about these motorized skateboards, that they're not being regulated. They're not required to be licensed. Not sure too much about the big issue about the license, but the safety part of it, the safety issue is, one of the things. We're hearing now about individuals who are purchasing vehicles and renting them. The big question mark there is, do those individuals have trade and business license that allow them to rent their vehicles? Are they insured as rental vehicles? Because what are we exposing the public out there to if these vehicles are on the road? Someone has rented it for a week or a few days. They get in an accident, they injure someone. What sort of recourse are they likely to have if, for instance, the insurance company refuses to settle simply because of the fact that it wasn't insured as a rental vehicle? If you have to address the matter civilly, then does the person have the resources, for you to go at the end of the day? On the roads of the Cayman Islands, we know that the Cayman Islands are extremely busy at this point in time. As far as construction is concerned, we saw what happened yesterday evening when cargo fell off of a truck. I'm not sure whether or not anyone got injured or any other vehicles received damage. But this morning, after 6 o'clock, they were just out there then loading transferring the load, putting the load on another vehicle. And who was there doing that? Doing the what do you call it? Directing traffic. Who was there directing traffic? A civilian person who's probably either involved with the crane operator or the company whose truck had the accident. Where are our officials? Where are the government officials? This thing should have been cleaned up from last night. Who should have been out there directing traffic? Our Royal Cayman Islands Police Service should have been out there. Folks, we are slowly entering into a period of decay in this country. We are thinking that we're advancing because we're seeing all of these concrete structures going up and all of the roads being paved. But from a moral standpoint, we are decaying in this country, and we will continue to decay if we don't do something about it. I apologize for taking this dystopian view of the Cayman Islands, but folks, we have to tell it like it is. We have to face the facts. If we don't wake up and do something about it, we're going to be lost in this country. With that, we're going to the 8 o'clock news. When we return, we will have Governor Martin Roper in the studio with us, and maybe we can get his views on where we are heading in the Cayman Islands. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Easter?
Eats.
Hop in this Easter weekend for Foster's Easter dinners with new recipes for an even better spread.
Order your main, sides, and desserts online starting at $94.99. Then pick it up in store, ready to feed up to 8.
Choose from a leg of lamb, an oven-roasted turkey, or maple glazed ham.
Then select 3 sides and either pumpkin or apple pie for dessert. Plus, every order comes with dinner rolls, gravy, and cranberry sauce.
Order your Easter holiday dinner online today at fosters.ky.
Foster's. Better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Cayman's private fund segregated portfolio fees are being returned. The Cayman Islands Monetary Authority is advising financial service providers that with immediate effect, it will no longer be collecting annual registration fees on behalf of segregated portfolios or private fund segregated portfolio companies. In addition, CEMA says it's seeking to refund those fees paid in 2020 to date prior to this notice. CEMA says it's currently discussing the situation with the Ministry of Financial Services and Commerce, and it's anticipated that the Private Funds Act and the associated regulations will be amended following a broader stakeholder consultation. A statutory-based registration fee will be implemented thereafter. Government publishes a new homeschool policy. The Ministry of Education and Department of Education Services says it supports a parent's and guardian's right to choose an educational environment that suits their child or children's needs, with some parents choosing to educate their kids at home. To balance a parent's right to educate their child and government's duty under the Education Act to ensure that all children are properly educated, the new policy aims to ensure all children receive a world-class education regardless of background and whether education is provided at school or at home, set up standard conditions for registering a child of compulsory age for homeschooling, and set up new procedures and responsibilities related to homeschooling. The full policy document, found online at gov.ky, covers areas such as safeguarding, parental responsibilities, as well as responsibilities for the Ministry of Education, Office of Education Standards, and the Department of Education Services. And Cayman's mental health helpline is getting a revamp. CIGTV's Donna Bush speaks with a psychiatric nurse, Denpa Carton.
The formal mental helpline is being rebranded and a new logo being sought as part of the changes.
We are rebranding and we are going to be known as K-Mind. And essentially we've been able to do that because of a very generous grant from the R3 non-profit organisation. We have 3 professional logos that we whittled down from 15 in total, but we also have 3 from a student at Lehman Scott High School in Cayman Brac, a student at Clifton Hunter High School, and a student from the Let Me Live Foundation. We can only choose one. We need your help to do that.
The top 3 student designers will receive a small cash prize, and the funding from R3 now means K-Mind can be accepted to the Befrienders Worldwide organization, which allows persons to seek help wherever they are in the world.
But with that, we also get to access the Samaritan training. This is phenomenal because this means that for the last 3 years, our line has been run by mental health professionals. This does not need to be run by mental health professionals. We want to reach out to the public. We want to get the public involved, and we want to train you. And we want to take K-Mind, we want to take it to a more reachable service.
Now, to vote for your favorite K-Mind logo, you can do so this Saturday, the 25th of March, as those involved move from location to location across the island, starting at Cost You Less from 10 a.m. Then they'll move on to Cayman Bay from 12:30 p.m. and then finally at A.L. Thompson and Savannah location from 2:30 p.m.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. A state visit to France by King Charles has been postponed because of continuing strikes and protests about French pension reforms. Last night, hundreds of people were arrested in violent disturbances, which left almost 450 police injured. The Indian opposition leader Rahul Gandhi has been disqualified from Parliament following his conviction for defamation. Mr Gandhi, who is a key Congress party figure, was given a 2-year prison sentence for remarks about the Prime Minister's surname, Modi, in a speech in 2019. Israel's Attorney General has warned the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, not to take part in his coalition's plans to overhaul the judiciary. Gali Baharav Miara said his involvement would violate a conflict of interest deal, which has allowed him to govern while being investigated for corruption. European banks have again come under pressure. Shares in Germany's biggest lender, Deutsche Bank, plummeted more than 10% in early trading after a spike in the cost of insurance against its default. Russia has attacked Ukraine overnight using bombs, missiles and drones. The cities of Sumy in the north, central Kryvyi Rih and Kostiantynivka in the east all suffered damage. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Breakfast is back this Saturday, March 25th, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. Enjoy a tasty Caribbean breakfast of fried fish and fritters, liver and onions, ackee and saltfish, along with turtle gumbo and turtle stew starting at only $12. And help support your community. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman supports sight screening, prostate and colon cancer awareness, Miss Teen, Spelling Bee, and so much more. Get your Caribbean breakfast and support the Lions Club of Grand Cayman in their community efforts. This Saturday, March 25th, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Mommy, why can't dogs talk? Why do I have to go to school and you don't? Why do you sing in the morning when you're bad at it? Why don't you brush your teeth when you take me to school? Why doesn't it ever snow here? Why does Daddy take the bus to work? Why are trees so tall? Why don't you tell me where babies come from? Mommy, Mommy, Mommy!
We're like a kid that doesn't ask a million questions before noon. CG Brit K. Good like that.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Brit K, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Developing your emotional awareness can have profound effects on your life.
As Daniel Goleman said in his book entitled Emotional Intelligence, people who cannot marshal some control over their emotional life fight inner battles that sabotage their ability for focused work and clear thought, whereas people with well-developed emotional skills are more likely to be active in their lives, mastering the habits of mind that foster their own productivity.
Change your thinking. Change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. Encourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
All right, good morning, my friends. Let's once again take a look at the traffic situation. Majority or the influx of traffic from the eastern districts. Looking from the east-west arterial, the majority have come in already. Traffic is flowing smoothly. But of course, looking down from Kingsport Center, the traffic is crawling in that area. But of course, we'll clear up in about 13-20 minutes time from now. Similar with along Crew Road and through the South Sound area. And of course, Bobby Thompson Way, congestion as well. And heading on to Huldah Avenue and those continuing on the inner streets of Georgetown, slowly feeding in. You will get to your destination in about 10-15 minutes time from now. Sheddard Road, light to moderate traffic, similar with Edward Street, and along the South Church Street, feeding on to Seafarers Way, North Church Street, West Bay Road. Light moderate traffic in that area. No cruise ships in, so very minimal pedestrian movement will be in the Georgetown area. Looking at the Butterfield roundabout, of course, busy as well with traffic coming off the Esterly Tibbetts and traffic along North Sound Road as well. Of course, that will clear up as the morning progresses. Cayman Bracken, Little Cayman, minimal traffic this morning time. Be safe, my friends. Grab a breakfast at a Subway nearest you.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist, or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its customers and the motoring public of wastewater infrastructure upgrade works along West Bay Road, adjacent to Burger King and Kamana Way. Preliminary activities will take place on Tuesday, 7th March, with the main works beginning on Monday, 13th March. These works are anticipated to last for several weeks. During this time, access to the southbound lane along West Bay Road will be somewhat, but not entirely, restricted. Water Authority Cayman and its contractor will maintain two-way traffic throughout. Traffic signs will be in place in the general vicinity of the works. All motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as the safety of the Water Authority and its contractor's staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it upgrades its wastewater infrastructure and apologizes for any inconvenience caused.
Songs sweet as spring. The 2023 Jubilate Orchestra and Choir in performance. The Harkwell Theatre, Wednesday, March 29, 5:30 p.m. A joint fundraising event by the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman and the Jubilate. Jubilate, inspiring young children in transition toward purpose and fulfillment through guidance. Reserve your ticket now through christianjvictory@gmail.com. Songs sweet as spring. Jubilate Orchestra and Choir, opening a universe of opportunity, supported by Rotary Central. Get your $50 ticket today. christianjvictory@gmail.com. All proceeds go to Rotary Club Grand Cayman and Jubilate. Help a child discover hidden talents. Jubilate and a Rotary, all the good you imagine.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper, in the studio with us. Like I said earlier, at some point we want to open up the phone lines. Governor is going to be with us until 9 o'clock. We encourage you, if you have any comments, questions, please either email us for the record at candw.ky, WhatsApp us 925-3261. That will be the easiest way for you to get your views across, because not everyone will be able to call in as well. So with that, Governor, it's great to have you in the studio. Again, we want to thank you for making yourself available. I'm sure that you must be on a whirlwind tour of the Cayman Islands now that you're leaving. Heard you on Sterling Dwayne's show, Sterling Dwayne Banks' show yesterday as well, talking about some of the things that you've been doing, your experiences in the BRAC, the fact that you created a little traffic jam over there because no one wanted to cross. And I said to myself, we need to have the governor in our cycling group here in Grand Cayman, because if the traffic over there is so, they defer to you in such a way that they won't cross you, then that would be good for our cycling group here in the Cayman Islands. But Governor, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Well, thank you very much, Ocean. It's a real pleasure to be with you for one last time as a governor. And I've been on the show many times in my 4.5 years. And I want to thank you and everyone at Radio Cayman for all you do in our islands to inform our community and provide a really valuable service. So, it's we go next Wednesday. So it is very close now, but we are just so thrilled and appreciate enormously how kind people are being as we sort of say farewell. It is somewhat sad in a way that this issue with the MP Chris Saunders, which is in the Compass overnight, has blown up. And I think what I do want to sort of say on that is that it didn't. The article says that those tensions that were there set off a chain of events. Well, I don't think that's correct. I think it's completely separate to what's happened between the Premier and Chris Saunders. And obviously, there's not much I can say about that. It's a matter for the Premier. But the issues which led to MP Chris Saunders no longer being in cabinet were very separate from what happened, and what happened was back in December and also January, and when I arrived on 29 October 2018 in the Parliament in front of the Chief Justice, I swore an oath to well and truly serve the people of the Cayman Islands, and I take that oath very, very seriously. I was appointed by Her late Majesty the Queen to be the governor of these islands, and I have responsibility for security and law and order under our constitution. So in Cabinet, what I did was raise two issues, actually, which were of great concern to me as governor, but reflecting the views of our law enforcement agencies. First was illegal gambling, and I've said publicly, and I've encouraged the government to address this. I think it's long overdue. We've had a murder. We have armed robberies of the cash that's been raised from the illegal numbers game, and I know that because I get reports regularly from our police that armed robberies of that, and there are lots of other associated crimes happening, which a lot of it is under the radar because of the nature of the illegal activity. So our law enforcement agencies tell me that our current framework is pretty useless, frankly, and we need to have a tougher framework. So I have encouraged more action on that. The other issue which came up was to do with the anti-corruption legislation, which, again, our law enforcement agencies and our Anti-Corruption Commission wanted to be passed to make some changes and strengthen our framework. And there were attempts made to delay, to frustrate, to slow down, to even to block that legislation. And those were the two issues on which tensions arose, which has been referred to in the press. So I just want to be very clear with the public in Cayman that at all times, all I have sought to do is stand up for good governance and stand up for law and order and security in these islands. And if what I've said has been uncomfortable to some people in doing that, well, that's my role and that's my job, and I'm here to do my best and protect the people of these amazing islands. And that's really all that has happened here. The outburst towards me from MP Saunders, many people around that table apologised to me, were embarrassed, and frankly, I think even people close to him didn't really believe or accept what he was saying. So that's really all I really want to sort of say on that matter. It's unfortunate this has happened at the end of my tour because it's been an amazingly eventful, and from my perspective, and I think a lot of people would say that as well, that we've had a lot going on. I was heavily involved in supporting the islands through COVID. And these islands have done an amazing job in responding to COVID. We have probably one of the best responses anywhere in the world. I think the UK supplied vaccines, saved hundreds of lives, and underlined very, very clearly why that UK link is so important in these international global crises like that. So so that I hope that gives some background. But I think to sort of suggest, as I think the press, the article does suggest that the tensions between myself and MP Saunders kicked off a chain of events. I mean, that's just not correct. I think the factors leading to MP Saunders no longer being in the cabinet were separate and were different, and I think it's up to the Premier and others to if they wish to say more on that. Not for me, but sure. Just being clear that for me this was about standing up and speaking up for the people of these islands around my responsibilities for law and order and security. Okay, and Governor, for the benefit of our audience as well. While you point out that you express concerns about the legislation or the lack of legislation or the lack of robust legislation based on our Constitution, the provisions of our Constitution, while you sought to negotiate or to encourage, there were other steps that you as governor could have taken if you wanted to as far as legislation is concerned. Can you let our listening and viewing audience know exactly what those steps are? That's absolutely correct, OC. I mean, now our Constitution provides, Section 81 of the Constitution, which is there if in the governor's areas of responsibility the elected Parliament, ministers are unwilling to pass legislation which the governor, under instructions from the UK, believes is necessary for the good governance of the Cayman Islands, then that authority exists. But we're a long way from that. I mean, I think people are aware it's there. I think the legislation has gone to a technical committee of Parliament, and I know discussions are underway, and we should give that time, and that discussion will continue, and I hope those discussions are fruitful, and we have stronger legal framework on our books. But yes, ultimately, that measure is there. I've had to use it, of course, once in my 4.5 years, and it is. I know it's controversial. It's very sensitive, and it should only be used very, very rarely. One would hope it's never needed. It's there if the UK, because this is a British overseas territory, feels that on a particular issue some action is needed, and we were in that position over the civil partnerships legislation because the Court of Appeal, our Court of Appeal, said that if the Cayman government doesn't act on a legal framework for same-sex couples, then the UK must act, and that the Parliament narrowly failed to pass the legislation, and I was instructed by the UK to pass that to respond to a very clear directive from our own Court of Appeal that we were failing in our obligations internationally if we did not have that framework in place. So that measure is there. I hope it's never needed again, because the UK wants the overseas territories to have the maximum self-government, and it is the elected politicians who run Cayman. That it's they're accountable, and they're accountable to the people of the Cayman Islands. But because we're a British overseas territory, there are some residual powers for the UK to be able to meet its international obligations.
And now you have commented in the past, and I think yesterday as well, and you pointed out the fact that the relationship between the Cayman Islands and the UK is probably one, if not the best relationships that any overseas territory has with the United Kingdom government. Can you expound on that?
I mean, I think that is correct. I mean, obviously, I'm not privy to all the full details of all the other relationships, so I can't say that with any sort of real evidence or certainty. But it's just the sense that I have, and it was the same under the former government as well. There was a very sort of strong and constructive relationship between Sir Alden McLaughlin's government and the UK, and that has continued under this government. I think the relationship is constructive. There are no major irritants in our relationship at the moment, and where issues come up, we discuss them and we talk about them. I think there are major irritants in the relationships between the UK and some other overseas territories. You can think of BVI and what's happening there. You can think of TCI and some of the security challenges they have. But we are fortunate that there are no major irritants, and I think it's a sort of a win-win relationship where it's mutually beneficial. And when the relationship is as positive as I believe it is, that enables me as governor to leverage support from the UK in various areas. We're at the request of Cayman, and only at the request of Cayman. So, for example, we've my office, which we're very pleased to have started under the former government, at the climate change risk assessment, where we leveraged some funding and 2 UK NGOs. It started under the former government. Premier Panton grabbed it with both hands and has taken that forward, and I'm really pleased that will now become the bedrock of the new Cayman Islands climate change policy. So that's an example of where Cayman UK working together, we can leverage from the UK's larger resources that technical assistance, and I think that's very useful for Cayman. We also respond to requests from the government for secondees. We have somebody arriving on Monday from the UK's Ofgem, because we are talking to the government and to Ofreg about whether we can try and provide some technical expertise to assist on our regulatory frameworks, which I think everyone is aware that we're not making as quick a progress as we would like on renewable energy, and I think that's something that really has to happen. So I hope we can leverage some technical assistance, and they're coming out to explore what type of secondee could be helpful to support Cayman. We're also talking about a secondee on public transport from the UK's Department of Transport. So these are the things that, when the relationship is positive, when the relationship is very constructive, these are the things that we can we can secure.
Certainly. And talking about Cayman and the comparison with other overseas territories, many of the other overseas territories, or some of them, have taken, some pages out of our playbook, as well. I see just recently, for instance, the Turks and Caicos Islands are talking about constitutional, they have a constitutional commission that has been established. And they have gone and sought the same constitutional expert that we used in 2009 for our constitutional, Sir Jeffrey Jowell, who they have chosen as well. So, there are many good things coming out from the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a commercial break, Governor. One of my first questions that I had, for you was, to talk about the high points and the low points of your governorship here in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
And I guess what has happened in the past few days, if you're a Donald Trump, then, you're going out in a blaze of glory. And that would be the high point for some. And, for you, it may be the low point, of where it's coming. But I'm glad that you chose to address that issue here on For the Record.
And I'd be happy to answer further questions on it if people have questions. But I hope I've sort of set out, the what I think is the real context of what was happening.
Certainly. So, folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with Governor Martin Roper will continue. So please stay tuned.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Now is your chance for big savings on all GE appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. Shop now through the 31st and save 15% on all GE appliances, laundry centers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, wall ovens, beverage centers, wine coolers, hoods, and more. Now through the 31st at Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park. Don't miss this chance to save 15% on all GE appliances. Hurry in today and save big. And also find fantastic deals on scratch and dent appliances.
Crystal Entertainment presents Sweet Sensation, a 70s, 80s, and 90s event. This is a grown-up event at the Grand Pavilion Courtyard, Friday, March 24th. Gates open at 7:30 p.m. You must be dressed in full black or full white and come on down and dance all night. Get your tickets early, 45 pre-sold and 50 at the door. Entertainment by Mixmaster DJ Alec, DJ Dave, and for the first time in Cayman, Sweet Sensation welcomes DJ Omar C. Big Outlet, Event Pro, and Fashion Martin Button Building.
System 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Governor Martin Roper. We have encouraged you to send in questions or comments, and I will share a few with the governor now. This one says, good morning, Mr. Connor, sorry, and Governor Roper. I first want to thank Governor Roper for his service. For his service, he and his wife integrating with Caymanians and residents, and wish him all the best in his next posting. I have one question. When you passed the domestic partnership law permitting same-sex marriages in Cayman, despite the Christian heritage provisions in our constitution, did you do that based on direct pressure from the United Kingdom government or the FCO, or was it your own personal conviction?
Yeah, all right, sure. I mean, first of all, you talked about the highs and the lows, and I mean, let me just say on the highs, certainly interacting with the community has been an absolutely wonderful high from our entire 4.5 years, and we've really we wanted to very much to get out and about, and I've some of the nicest things we've done is actually going into the homes of our seniors, been invited across the 3 islands into the homes of our seniors, and a shout out to the wonderful Miss Viva Smith in Cayman Brac, who is 99, and I met her on my farewell tour to the Brac. She's 100 in April. Absolutely wonderful lady, and it was so nice to meet her, and those have been some of the really, really nice things that we've done to get to know a lot of our seniors and hear their stories about the past and Cayman's rich heritage and culture and traditions. On the specific question, so the way the Constitution works, to use Section 81 has to be under instructions from the UK, but obviously I can give advice and I can give recommendations, and I mean, actually there were a lot of people in our community who wanted the UK to go further and pass legislation on same-sex marriage, but recognising that this is a very sensitive issue and it is controversial, and we are a religious sort of conservative community. We didn't do that, and my advice was to pass the civil partnerships legislation. So it was at the instructions of the UK, but based on my advice as governor, with an understanding of the local issues and context. But we didn't have a choice. The Court of Appeal judgment was very clear that if Cayman government didn't act, the UK must act to fulfil international obligations.
Okay, and this one says, does His Excellency the Governor consider we have any border control issues? Do you consider whether or not we have any border control issues? And what, if any, technology has the UK recommended, and where are they in the process? For example, we have been hearing about marine radar for years and understood the UK was championing this.
That's a really, really good question. I mean, first of all, I think that with the CBC, Customs and Border Control, we've made really good progress in recent years since CBC was established, and a shout out to everyone at CBC for the work that they do. I mean, it's continuous improvement. You've got to keep analysing the threats, and you've got to keep adapting. Obviously, we still face an issue on Cuban migrants. So I think that has eased considerably in recent weeks, and again, huge thanks to CBC, Chief Officer Wesley Howell, and everybody involved in helping to manage that very difficult problem. I do think that radar to increase the coverage of our territorial waters is something that the jurisdiction should consider, and there are discussions underway to look at some options for that, led by Bob Scotland at the Coast Guard. And again, Coast Guard is a fantastic new addition to these islands, and I'm very proud. I know everyone is very proud of the progress made by the Coast Guard. So, we do have, I think everybody knows, we do have the canoe boats coming in with drugs, with firearms. We detect a lot of those, and that's fantastic work by our law enforcement agencies, but a lot get through. If you had more radar coverage, that would be a better tool for us. So it's a matter for the government, but I know options are being looked at, but I certainly think it's something that needs to be considered.
Okay, this one says, under Section 31 of the Constitution, your duty is to promote good governance. Under Section 81 and 55, Parliament does if Parliament does not wish to introduce or pass a bill relating to defense, external affairs, internal security, and appointment, you can introduce and pass your own bill and assent to it. The person says, in my view, you have sometimes unduly interfered in the day-to-day functions of the elected government, such as the internal processes of the legislature, and B, when it has suited you, you have refused to take actions relating to good governance and punted it to the elected government?
Well, I wouldn't share that characterization. I mean, I have stood up for good governance because that is my role, and I have pushed issues which I talked about earlier where I'm receiving advice from our law enforcement agencies. So, I think a governor doesn't do anything without advice. You take advice from the Attorney General. A governor takes advice from the Deputy Governor, the Cabinet Secretary. So you take advice, and on the basis of that advice, you decide what or whether to take it forward. But I think I would say I have fully respected the Cayman government's domestic autonomy, and that was strengthened in 2019 in the constitutional changes. And I was an observer at those talks in 2019, and I actually 2018 into 2019, and in the margins I supported that point around domestic autonomy, because that's how Britain wants the overseas territories to function, with the maximum self-government. It is the elected government that runs the overseas territories. The UK has a voice, and the UK has an opinion, and the UK can encourage and raise issues. And then in extremis, there is the Section 81 power, which is very, very rare. But really, it should be a debate and a discussion, and it should be mutually working together to find common solutions. And I would say it's a difficult balance. I think all governors find it's a difficult balance, but I believe I've more or less got that right in my 4.5 years here.
Okay, this one has to do with cakes and everything. As this person says, I know that you say that you have the record for eating the most heavy cakes, but the person says, but I'm sorry to inform you that you couldn't take that away from Captain Clifford Ebanks of West Bay. The person says, I know that you are going to miss the beach and the people of the Cayman Islands, and we are going to miss you too. Wishing you and your wife a safe passage back home. Hope that you will be able to come back to visit us.
Well, that's very nice. When people ask me what will you miss, I often say, I'll miss my hair, because I had a lot more when I arrived 4.5 years ago. But we'll miss so much about these amazing islands, and it's an extraordinary community. And there are so many people out there who just want to make the lives of other people better, and there are so many decent, good people in the Cayman Islands who care about everybody else. And I've been privileged, because of my role, to be involved in so much of the activity, from really getting involved in Caymanian culture, heritage, the Seafarers. I was at the Seafarers annual general meeting on Tuesday night for a farewell. Wow. And I've got to know the Seafarers really well. They're an extraordinary group of people, and when you talk to them about their life experiences, you understand their strength, their resourcefulness, what they have given to these islands, and we need to hear more about that. I've really enjoyed interacting with people like the Seafarers, and so I getting into the districts and talking to different people in the districts, but then also being involved in so many charitable events across the island. And we have so many groups of people, and all the service clubs. I mean, you've got an amazing group of people in the service clubs. Rotary Club of Grand Cayman, the Sunrise, Rotary Central, the Lions. The Lions are an amazing organisation doing fabulous work. So that's what I mean by there are so many people out there who just want a decent and a good and are honest and want to do their best for people. And with everything going on in the world, with social media, it's all about crisis, it's all about criticism, it's all negative. Sometimes just step back and look at the good in the world, and there is a huge amount of good in the Cayman Islands. I see it every day, and the vast majority of people are good, decent, law-abiding people, and that's something we should celebrate.
Okay. Paul, let's see if we can grab the caller before we go to our commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. No one there, Paul. Okay.
Okay.
So this person has written and said, I want to take this opportunity to thank Governor Roper for his excellent service to our three islands. I'm grateful for his help during the COVID pandemic and the exemplary ways in which he has carried out his role during his tenure in the Cayman Islands. I will certainly miss him and wish him and his wife all the best as they return home to the UK.
Well, thank you. That's again a lovely sentiment, and it gives me a chance to say thank you to Lizzie, my wife, as well. She has been incredibly supportive of me, not just in Cayman, but throughout my entire Foreign Office career. And now she wants to be back in the UK, to be near her elderly parents, and that's our main focus, certainly for the next few months. So we are returning to the UK, and that's where we will be based sort of permanently for probably now for quite a few years, I would hope.
Okay. Well, and that gets me to this question. I think you can ask it before we go to a commercial break. In terms of your activities, we've seen previous governors, for instance, continue to support the Cayman Islands, even when they're no longer governor, like, for instance, joining the Friends of Cayman in the UK and supporting efforts that are being taken in the Cayman Islands as well. Any plans in that area?
I mean, I would be very happy and very open to supporting the Cayman Islands in any way that I can after I leave. Obviously, you'll have a new governor, and I know people are looking forward to her arriving. And I've said before, I know her very well. I think she'll be a very good appointment and do a really good job. But I would, Cayman has become in 4.5 years, which is longer than I think a lot of governors have sort of stayed here, and it's become a huge part of us. We feel very invested in these amazing islands and the people here. So if I, in whatever way, can support the Cayman Islands in the future, of course, I would be very happy to do that. And I hope, yes, I'm sure I'll be at any Friends event in London in the near future. Maybe not immediately, but certainly in years to come.
Okay. We're going to take a commercial break. We have 2 callers on hold. We're going to ask those callers to hang in there. Paul, we will have to close it off with the 2 callers because the governor will be leaving us at 9 o'clock as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Keep your station dialed into Radio Cayman, Friday, March 24th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. as we broadcast the Lions Club of Grand Cayman, Benzorama Opening Ticket Drive, live from the Mango Tree. Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have about 12 minutes left with Governor Roper. I had a list of questions, and but after the show, even though he's not here, I will tell you what I had, and we can discuss those, as well. In the governor's absence. We have 2 callers. We're going to take those callers. We're going to ask you to please be as brief as possible because we still want the governor to have some final comments as well. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, sorry.
Good morning to both of you gentlemen in the studios.
Good morning.
And to the governor. I'm getting a lot of that you are interested in staying engaged. I guess, from across the waters here in Cayman. Could you tell me, sir, what do you think about us trying to get a holiday for the nice seamen? Yes, what a remarkable organization, and what remarkable people they all are. I just want a holiday for them. Been trying to do that. Can't get any traction. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
What do you think about a holiday to honor these remarkable people?
I mean, I think, as I said earlier, I absolutely share your sentiments about how remarkable our seafarers and their families are, and I've really enjoyed interacting with them. A public holiday, it's a very interesting suggestion. That wouldn't really be in my under my control. I think public holidays are a matter for the local government, and I think there's a limit to how many we can have. So we may have to lose one to have another one. But it seems a very interesting idea to me. So I would certainly encourage you to feed that thought into your elected member of parliament and ministers.
Thank you, sir, especially for the idea of losing one to get one, because I thought about that.
I'm not sure which one you would choose.
or cut it off right here, right now. But I think a holiday to honor our seamen, whilst some of them are yet with us to enjoy, would be a wonderful thing. And your host right there in the studio, you could start right there with him, sir.
Okay. Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Flight home, and you can come back and see us now and again.
Thank you.
Okay, let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. And good morning to the governor.
Good morning, sir.
So I had the privilege of taking a snapshot with you at the show. My name is Moxham, Lennox Moxham from the bakery.
Ah, right. Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, it is regrettable that you're leaving, but I would have hoped that you would have set some sort of guidelines for the government or the police department to compensate us for the usage of our property for 13 years. You know, it's unbearable to think that establishment like the police take advantage of a member of the public, and no one, especially someone in your position, haven't taken taking it upon their shoulders to solve this problem. Because number one, it should never have happened. And from the time that it did happen, I went over there and I explained to the commanding officer where the boundaries were at. And he said, oh, yeah, we're going to look on it. Well, now it's almost 19 years passed by, and no one really haven't definitely looked into it, or that might have been all that they did, looked into it. No one in the governor, from a governor's standpoint, should have been the first thing on their agenda, because no one, especially the police, should take advantage of people's property and not compensate them for it, sir.
Yeah.
And I would be very grateful if you should set some guidelines on solving this problem once and for all, because really it's a shame and a disgrace for the police of all the departments in the government to take advantage of private property, and no one seems to care. No one seems to want to do anything about it, and I'm really disgusted.
Okay.
The Cayman Island government have looked into this. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. I'll give you a few more questions, and then you can cover all of them at the same time. Well, this person says, this is good news also, sir. Person says that they will be dropping off a cake to you at your residence sometime today, and they wish you safe travels as well.
Well, thank you very much for that.
One of our other listeners wanted to know, and I'll read it verbatim. Does the governor now finally accept that the overwhelming majority of the Caymanian people wholeheartedly reject the concept of same-sex marriage. So you can cover the BRAC, you can cover that, and we give you an opportunity for some closing comments as well, sir.
I mean, certainly the BRAC and Little Cayman, we've certainly loved our visits there and have visited many times, countless times, and they are both wonderful communities, and we have so many fond memories of everybody in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, and that is something we will absolutely take away with us. I mean, on the second question, I'm not sure how you establish the evidence to sort of back that up, but I can say that I was very aware of the feelings in the community, and that a lot of people had strong views on that, and that was why, under instructions from the UK, it was to introduce civil partnerships, which means we did not go as far as legalising same-sex marriage. In fact, the Privy Council has, of course, recently passed a judgment which confirms that there is no obligation on the Cayman Islands government under our constitution to have a framework for same-sex marriage, and that we are meeting our legal and international obligations by having the civil partnerships framework. So I don't think anybody's lives have changed overnight as a result of that, but we have met our international obligations and given legal rights to a group of people in our community, and I think that in the round is a good step forward, and it's an advance, and I think step by step we know we're making more progress.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and I wouldn't want to miss this because I have some opinions on this as well. This one says, on the topic of secondees that Mr. Roper mentioned earlier, please can you ask if this initiative is a mutual one? Opportunity is provided for persons from overseas to learn, train, and grow in their careers in Cayman, but greater opportunity would be welcome for our own people who would like an opportunity to further on-the-job training in the international scene. Is this an area that the UK is open to exploring? This is separate to Cayman's UK office rep.
Yeah.
And I would add to that to say that, while people still are reluctant to talk about independence, and if you were to poll the majority of the population of the Cayman Islands, they would say, no, we don't want to become independent. But one of the steps that we need to take, towards that road would be that we're going to need international diplomats. We're going to need diplomats. And to me, that would be one of our shortcomings that we would have.
Right.
And whether or not there are any aspects of that training that the UK could offer.
I think it's a really good question, and it's a very important point. And yes, the answer is yes. It has happened before, and it can happen. There's no reason why we wouldn't, as the Governor's Office, be able to support a specific request for someone from Cayman to be seconded to a UK government agency or ministry to gain experience and broaden their horizons. We would absolutely be open to looking at those case by case. And in actual fact, I mentioned the Ofgem visit on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the discussions we've had with Ofreg is it is two-way. It's about whether somebody comes from the UK to work with Ofreg here, or whether actually somebody from Ofreg goes to the UK and works with Ofgem or some of the UK regulators. So these things are discussed, and I absolutely agree with your point about capacity building and thinking longer term, and I'm sure, case by case, we would be very open to supporting on that.
Okay. I know I promised you that would be the last one, but this is a good one as well. So, says, good morning, OC and His Excellency Governor Roper. I want to give a big thank you for managing our islands. I furthermore congratulate you on spearheading the implementation of our Coast Guard and our regiment. These two branches of securing our islands were long overdue. I would like to see the Coast Guard advance in training our seamen and our agency put in place to recruit these seamen. After all, it was our maritime culture back in the days. I wish God's blessing to you and your family. Have a wonderful life moving forward.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm very proud, and I think our islands are very proud of the Coast Guard, which has made extremely good progress in recent years under the leadership of Commander Scotland and Deputy Commander Leo Anglin. I think we're all very proud of them. Regiment as well. We set that up from scratch during a pandemic with UK assistance on the training, and I think they've already proven their worth in terms of responding to all the tropical storms that we had. I do keep saying to me, we did have one tropical hurricane, which was great. And I know everyone sort of like accepts that. But again, the regiment were there. They were out and about supporting our other disaster response units, and to have that capacity on island when we're affected by adverse weather events, it just gives us an additional skill set which we didn't have before, and that I think is a very positive development. And I've spoken to the reservists, the part-time reservists, who all have other jobs, and they are so proud to be able to serve their community and their people at our sort of time of need.
Okay, one more person wanted to know whether or not you are disappointed with the lack of progress here on renewable energy. They say a miserable 3% so far is terrible for such a serious long-term crisis.
As the clock strikes 9, I will just say yes.
Okay, Governor, give you an opportunity for some farewells.
All right. Well, just to say, 4.5 years. It's been incredibly eventful period. I mean, there isn't time to list all the various things that have happened. But I said when I arrived that I would fight your corner. I said that on day one, and I hope people, when they look back, will be able to say, well, yes, this governor did fight our corner. I've been there for Cayman. I've worked hard for Cayman, and I love these islands, and I've got to know its people, and I've interacted with the people, and it's been the privilege of my life to serve the people of Cayman as governor of these wonderful islands, and I will always wish the very, very best to the Cayman Islands, and we'll follow your progress with great interest in the years to come, and thank you to you, OC, because we've had some very good and lively discussions over the years on this show.
Yes, we have. And thank you for making yourself available, and I am sure that your successor, will do the same as well, and no doubt you would have briefed her to a certain extent. We do know that in many instances, in the past, sometimes governors, when they were being sent to a jurisdiction, they would come quietly. No one would know who they were. And then I think the practice developed where they would send them to other overseas territories and get some advice from them. So I'm sure that you have given her some sage advice as far as the Cayman Islands. And we won't ask you to tell us what, but all the best again, sir.
Thank you very
much.
Top
of the hour headline news. When we return, the conversation will continue. So please stay tuned.
The Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
The governor announces that his team has had further turtle lighting installed at Government House. It's one of the current threats to sea turtles in Grand Cayman, and the governor says in the last 3 years, 623 nests were laid in locations with, quote, problematic lighting. Local properties in certain locations are eligible for funding assistance for an ongoing turtle-friendly lighting retrofit project. If you're interested, you can contact the DOE. King Charles III's state visit to France has been postponed after a request by President Emmanuel Macron. The trip from Paris to Bordeaux had been due to begin on Sunday, but France saw some of the worst violence on Thursday since demonstrations began in January. Buckingham Palace said the delay was due to, quote, the situation in France. A judge has rejected an offer from actress Gwyneth Paltrow's legal team to, quote, bring in treats for courtroom security at her trial in Utah. The unusual request prompted a courtroom objection, leading the judge to say, quote, thank you, but no thank you. Ms. Paltrow is accused of causing a collision that left retired eye doctor Terry Sanderson concussed. He's seeking $300,000 in damages. She denies blame for the crash in February 2016 and has countersued. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to again thank His Excellency the Governor for making himself available to come on the show. I know that we did have a conflict on Monday, so we had to swap around Monday's scheduled interview, but it was timely in a way because it then brought us much closer to his departure, and also there have been some developments since then as well, and the governor chose this morning, of his own volition to address those issues as well. So the phone lines are open now. You may still have questions or comments. I'm not sure whether or not the governor's office is tuned in to Radio Cayman, but if they are, they may be listening in. So if you have things to say, I want to say that all of the WhatsApp messages and the emails that I received, that I shared them, and I'm thankful to all of you who have made comments. And I want to say thank you also because I did not have to sanitize anything. If there were situations where you may have disagreed with the governor's viewpoint or his actions, you did it in a civil way. So I didn't have to sanitize anything at all that was sent in to me. And I want to thank all of you for that as well, because while we can all agree to disagree, we don't have to be disagreeable when we disagree as well. So I want to thank you for that. So I had, while listening to Sterling Dwayne's show yesterday, Talk Today, and his interview with the governor, I jotted down some questions that I wanted to ask as well. Of course, time didn't allow for all of those. You heard us talk about me mention the fact that I wanted to know about the highlights and the low points, of his governorship here in the Cayman Islands. And he responded to those as well. Whether or not the briefings that he had received prior to his posting in the Cayman Islands, whether or not they were accurate in terms of the information that he received. And I know that governors, when they're being posted to other jurisdictions, they will ask, questions about how should I deal with certain matters, how should I approach people, what are some of the sensitivities, and no doubt they are probably well read on the jurisdiction that they're being posted to as well, and they would receive briefings on that part. So I didn't get to ask him that. We talk about, I mentioned the advice given to his successor, and of course, we didn't expect him to tell us exactly what. One of the other things that we didn't get an opportunity to discuss was the issue of continuity, the continuity of policy issues from one governor to the other, and whether or not that is one of the goals of the UK to have some continuity. Now, of course, we heard one of the questions coming from one of our listeners in relation to sustainable energy, I believe it was, yeah. And that would be one area where you would expect that there would be the desire for continuity, policy continuity. You would certainly expect that. I want to see again what the question that the person had in that regard. Renewable energy and whether or not he was disappointed with the total lack of it. And we, of course, some believe that when governors come, they come with a particular agenda. I think the governor has made that clear, that they do not come with a personal agenda. They certainly take an oath, and what we have included in our oath now is not only to serve the Majesty and the UK, but also the people of the Cayman Islands as well. But we also know that when the interests of the United Kingdom and the interests of the Cayman Islands come in conflict with each other, then the UK's interest is going to prevail. We have seen that before, and we know that that will take place. So that oath to serve the interests of the people of the Cayman Islands, that comes with a caveat as well. And that caveat is unless it does not come in conflict with the interests of the UK. We do have callers on hold. Let's grab the callers. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you? Good to hear your voice again.
Yeah, it's good to be back on the show. I tried to get on when the governor was there to wish him farewell and so forth. I think he was one of the better governors we've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And why do you think that?
Well, see, he has mingled with the people. When you look at it, he goes cycling, he goes swimming, it was like no fear, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that he was like too proud or too stuck up to, you would say, do those things with the local people. So, I think we got, and hey, look, he's also putting himself out there to learn the steel pan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, he's mingled.
Okay. And what would you like to see, in the new governor that's coming? It's, of course, a female governor, which would be the second female that we would have.
Second, yeah. Well, if she's anything like the former one, which I held in high regard as well. So if she does like the last governor, which is leaving now, and the other lady, then we got a good governor.
And we have in the past, and I wasn't back in Cayman at the time, but the standard that we have set for most governors, at least in relation to integrating and mingling with Caymanians, has been Governor Thomas Russell. And I have I have heard some stories from former civil servants, about Mr. Russell and his exploits in the Cayman Islands, and what he would do and how he would mingle, with them, and that is the bar that we have set, in that regard for most of our governors, how they integrate now. We've had some governors in the past, and some people may have complained, well, not enough events being held at Government House to entertain Caymanians. One particular governor, for instance, he was so close to the commissioner of police and some other senior non-Caymanian civil servants, that it was a regular thing for them to be, at Government House unofficially as well. And some people were critical, of that.
Well, the thing that I looked at there, OC, not everybody has, you say, a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to respect that.
Yeah.
And not because I don't host a lot of parties at my house means that I'm unsociable or anything else. No, it's just not my style. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay, caller. Want to thank you. Yep. Thank you very much for that.
I really want to wish the governor a great, successful endeavors in his future.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, caller. And like I said before, great to hear your voice again. Paul, let's take that commercial break. Any other callers on hold? No callers on hold. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual-specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Did you know advertising will be required before submitting a temporary work permit application that exceeds 30 days? Effective 31 March 2023, employers with part-time or full-time available positions will need to advertise on the Jobs Cayman portal. To learn more about the new regulations or for assistance in using the Jobs Cayman portal, visit work.ky. That's worc.ky. Work.ky. Or call customer care 945-9672, 945-9672 today.
The Family Resource Center is inviting the public to register for the Color Me Purple 5K, which takes place on Sunday, March 26 at 6:30 a.m. at the 7 Mile Beach. Registration is $30 and includes a t-shirt, registration, and refreshments. There will be great prizes up for grabs, including one of the Purplest Runner Walker. All proceeds from the Color Me Purple 5K will benefit the Family Resource Center's Young Parent Services. The Family Resource Center is celebrating Honoring Women Month throughout March in many other ways and encourages you to follow them on Facebook or Instagram to keep up to date with all their offerings. For further details, please contact the Family Resource Center at 949-0006 or email frc@gov.ky.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I'm going to continue to share the messages as they come in, despite the governor's absence. This person says, I wish the governor the best as he leaves our islands. We thank him for his service during the pandemic, but he must know that the vast majority of multi-generational Caymanians can never forgive him and the UK government for forcing their gay agenda down our throats. There was no respect shown to us or our values. Let's grab a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. I got a couple of questions, and I don't have to wait online for them. So I hope I get opportunity to run them by you.
Sure.
Someone want to call in this weekend. Morning. Oh, see, or traffic on a road. I don't really know what the plans are for our traffic because it's getting worse and worse by the minute.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of reckless drivers up there, a lot of inexperienced drivers up there. There's vehicles on the road that is not roadworthy, probably not even licensed, probably got no insurance, and they're out there running for companies. We got the lawn service up there who is dropping their droppings before they get to the dump, they got very little stuff left on their truck, and they don't even say, well, I wonder where it's gone, or let me go back and look for it.
Mhm.
Wherever it's dropped, it stays. And we need to start holding these lawn owners responsible for these things, for these garbage, that, the limbs and stuff that they're dropping as they're moving.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the rainy season is coming up upon us, and the hurricane season is coming up on us, right? The Newlands Road and many other roads that have been started, and these two things are coming, hurricane and rain. I mean, whoever is engineering these plans to do this type of work, I really can't understand why it would start so close to these two things, a hurricane season and a rainy season. Now, we don't have no control over the rainy season and the hurricane season. And we can't hold up everything, because then those two things will be on out sooner or later. But the fact of the matter is, we have to use a little bit of common sense here. Well, rainy season lasts so, and hurricane is 6 months, and we have to do so much before these things started. But I just said that. But the fact of the matter, too many roads are being started, and they're not being finished. We got roads throughout this whole island start and cannot come to a completion, and hurricane season coming and rain season coming.
Mhm.
They need to do something better about that.
But you've heard the minister explain why more than one road, because let's take, for instance, the Linford Pearson extension there. There's so many other things that have to be done. It's more than just putting down marl and putting asphalt on top of it. You have to put other infrastructure in place. And while you're waiting for CUC and stuff, rather than having people sit idle, then they can go on to another project. Because I had the same concerns, but he has explained why, one road isn't, just started and finished because of that.
I understand that, but the Pearson Highway, when Mr. J was on your station some months ago talking about that road, that he said that was almost in progress to be getting up to be finalized. Every time you look, what authorities going in there and CUC going in there and whoever else is going in there, I know things can get back up. But the point is, starting all these roads is not solving anything, and we are still having bottlenecks throughout the whole island and coming from east. Oh my God, it's terrible. I went up that way the other day with a tour, and the police was up there, and he said, you should have said the dump trucks that park off because they was afraid to go where the police was looking. It's because they was and I saw it with my own eyes in it, and they just say, I don't know why they stopped it. I say, and then you had a gentleman, they probably got an insurance and a license, huh? I said, well, you never know. Just never know. But, see, something has to be done in Cayman, and I was telling, I don't know if it was you or Sterling, we need to have a, what's it called again now? Where we pick up these cars off the road and impound them.
Yeah, have a pound to put,
Yes, and charge these people. And what I was thinking too, we need some sort of type of meters on our roads as well, because people are renting their homes out and they have nowhere for their people to park. When they got this home, there was private homes and so forth. Now they're turning into apartments. I don't have nothing against that. But you make sure you got some your people to park, that they're not blocking anyone who's trying to get in and out of their roads that they've been living on. But you got speed bumps and you got stop signs and so forth, and you got vehicles, you got these swinging around and all that kind of garbage. Down there, across from Tortuga, there's a garage down by the distillery. And on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, both sides is lined up with look like vehicles that not even being used. The sidewalk got cars on it. And people that area is idle, nobody's doing the job. It was up in South Road some time ago. Ken was up there getting that clean up. They are parking them back on that South Road, going to the airport one by one again. I don't know why we start something here and we just can't continue it. All you can hear, we ain't got enough bodies here and we ain't got enough bodies there. But yet there's so many people out of a job. If the person is not fully up to par of doing a job, train them. You train them. And so what is so wrong with training someone to go out there and do something? Put them with somebody else and train them and have more hands on that. And you know what, O.C.? I haven't got my ID yet.
Okay. So what's the latest on that?
Well, I called there 2 occasions recently, and I was told that I will not be receiving it until I put this yellow banner on my car. Or see, that yellow banner ain't going to give me no more business than I'm doing right now. I feel like I have sufficient information on my vehicle to do my job. Driving around in town with all of these stickers and banners on your vehicle, I don't know what we look like. Looking like a bunch of hooligans out there begging and digging and carrying on. I am not going to do it. And if I have to lose my license because of a banner, believe me, public transport I hear from my lawyer, because it's no way in the world a banner can make my business any better or anybody business any better. We are a taxi driver. We got hotels. I mean, we got Ritz-Carlton here, hotels and other businesses that doesn't carry it. All they have is a taxi license plate and nothing else. They ain't got no number on their buses. They cars that they buy that is fancy. The guys who have nothing saying on their shirts that they're ambassadors to the island. They got the name of the company, just Majestic and Western. We don't got nothing saying about ambassador of the island. We all doing a taxi service. And I didn't know that this taxi business had so many different categories when you are a taxi driver. You know what I mean? So I don't know what their plans on giving me my ID. And I don't know what my plans are. But I tell you one thing. Public transport needs to be rerouted. And I hope that when Mr. J goes in there, that he can see where it needs to be rerouted. And be one of us and reroute it in a proper way to benefit everybody, not just who is sitting around the table or who's under the table. And I'm looking forward, and the taxi drivers are looking forward and hoping that Mr. J would find some time in his schedule to come to that dispatch and talk to the taxi drivers. They've been hungry. I mean, hungry for Mr. Bryan to come and talk to them. And he never went to the stand, they say. I never been there and stand there. I don't know. They say you never came there. I reached out to him several times about my ID. I got no return calls. Now I understand now that it's under now Mr. J. Mind is going to be in charge of public transport. But I just hope that we get better communication from public transport as taxi drivers, and what is good for one is good for all.
Okay, caller. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Paul, do we have any other callers on hold? No other callers on hold at this time. I'm just looking through the other messages that we would have received in terms of the... So some of the other questions that I had for the governor that we didn't get an opportunity... I did ask him about any intention of continuing to support the Cayman Islands in the UK. And then this one, we wanted to get his views on Cayman retaining its Caymanian identity and the threats to that. We know that topic or that issue is not only something that is facing the Cayman Islands, but facing other jurisdictions, as well. You hear people in the UK talk about it. If you believe that stopping those boats from coming across the channel, the English Channel, if you believe that only has to do with safety, then, you're wrong. People in the UK have concerns, as well. Now, there could be other arguments that are used for those who may oppose the UK's position on that, and they may say, well, during the days of colonialism, or the legacy, I would put it this way, the legacy of colonialism is playing out now because those persons who were negatively impacted by colonialism are now trying to seek an opportunity in the countries that colonize them. And some may ask, what is so wrong about that? But in the Cayman Islands, the question of us retaining our Caymanian identity or of losing it, that is a serious one. It is an existential issue, and it is one that needs to be addressed. We have to take a commercial break. We have a caller on hold. As soon as we return, we will take that caller. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Now is your chance for big savings on all GE appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. Shop now through the 31st and save 15% on all GE appliances, laundry centers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, wall ovens, beverage centers, wine coolers, hoods, and more. Now through the 31st at Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park. Don't miss this chance to save 15% on all GE appliances. Hurry in today and save big. And also find fantastic deals on scratch and dent appliances.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines as promised. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.T.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
All right. I was hoping to hear from you earlier.
Well, my understanding was the lines were closed.
Well, they were open for a while, and I think we closed them off, Paul, after the 8:45 commercial break. So it was open up until then.
Oh, I was unaware of that because I wanted to talk to that little governor that we have here that is exiting. And I heard that there's a lot of people who are giving him kudos for his tenure, and his commitment to this country and what he did. Well, you know, I appreciate that people will do that because they don't know the man. You know, what do we say? Come see me, come live with me. And now I have had my experiences with him too. And what I can say about him is, what I should say is that you remember that every short governor we get in this country we had trouble with. Smith, Stuart, Jack, and now this one. Okay? If you stand all three of them on each other's shoulders, you couldn't get a good Napoleon. Okay? Now, O.C., this governor, despite what others may say, has meddled in our politics for too long during his tenure. We have seen it. England said that on the same-sex thing, that it was left up to the territories, right? That's what England said. He and Alden employed Section 801, and he continues to threaten this government with Section 81 too. I wonder if he realizes that Section 81.
But if I could sort of correct you there, if you listened in, you heard him say that Section 81, that it is there. It is preferred not to be used. He didn't relish, having to use it, but he did say that it was used as a result of the Court of Appeals decision.
Which Court of Appeals decision?
In saying that if the legislature of the Cayman Islands didn't do anything about same-sex marriages, that the UK should step in.
That is null and void now, because what is the Privy Council overruled it too,
Yeah, he mentioned that. As well.
But they couldn't wait for that. Okay? They couldn't wait for that.
And what we approved there wasn't same-sex marriages. It's a civil partnership legislation.
When you think that all of us were talking about doing it in a different manner, we see, and they use that, and now, and we were not against giving minorities their rights, but now you're talking about less than 2,000 people that has taken up that partnership the last time I heard.
But is it when you say 2,000, you're talking about residents, because it relates not only to those persons, let's say, who are Caymanians, but the rights that are extended to the persons who come here to work here as well, and their partners. So that 12 number, you would want to know where that is coming from, because there are several work permit holders now who, as a result of the civil partnership legislation, are allowed to have their civil partners here with them.
Absolutely.
So the law itself wasn't geared just towards Caymanians.
Right. So I don't know how many are in, what the percentage is. So I won't even go there. But I want to know what is happening with that lawyer that was fighting so strong for it. He wanted his wife or husband, whichever it was.
I don't hear much more from him these days.
Well, the Supreme Court, the Privy Council say there is no thing as a marriage, right? So he need to go do partnership too. I hope they pick him up, okay? Because, and then I want to know how that's going to work with our laws. He got that married in England, and now here he would change it to partnership. But be that as it may, I want to move on.
Okay.
Here are the other places that this governor got himself involved, and I spoke out about McKeever. He called for McKeever to step down and publicly put it out there. Okay? My correspondence as leader of the opposition from the FCO, he made that public before he sent it to me, when it came in a diplomatic pouch to me. Okay? I wrote him a letter on that. And remember, I told him that manners make it man. People were not paying attention to what his behavior was in this country. And then the gambling thing. And you said afterwards that they come here without a personal agenda. Not a personal agenda. Look at the alcohol limit. He forced them boys to do it. Driving under the influence, now I'm talking about.
But he said, of course, he said that was a recommendation of Commissioner of Police.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with recommending it, but produce the evidence to say that. Produce the evidence to say that there is
a correlation between the high levels of alcohol and
accident.
Yes, yeah.
Or low levels of it, because it was 0.1, and it's my understanding no accident causing death in this country was below 0.1. This was only done, remember, he's in charge of police, and this was only done to save face for him. He wanted something to do. It's all personal with these people. It is all personal with these people. See, it's unfortunate. But, no matter what I say, people are going to criticize, and that's fine by me, because I've had enough of that in my life. But let me wish him, and you said you hope that the governor's office is listening in, or they may be listening in. It is personal, or it's their ego, and from the height of them. They're not far enough from the ground, okay? Now, I wish him a fond farewell. The same one I wish to Jack, because we had our troubles with him. You were there.
Mm-hmm.
I wish him smooth sailing. Smooth sailing with hurricane winds, Hurricane Ivan winds upon his back. To never return. And the sooner, the better. If he think this is Chris that they can fire because of it, they made a big mistake. As a member of parliament, you can't criticize the throne, nor can you criticize the governor. The people of East End made sure are not anymore, so I can criticize him. Make him go, and may he never see land again. I understand there's a rumor out there that he is building house in Little Cayman. Now that may be rumor, and I'm not putting much credit to it. But if that is so, I trust that this cabinet will not give him Cayman status, because people like him do not deserve those type of things. Only don't know this man, I can share correspondence with this country of how he and I got in it. On more than one occasion, he is too condescending. Let me repeat that word, since it looks like Chris using it caused some problem. Condescending and afraid, and do not want anybody to question anything he does. But those who are there, who have experienced him, will tell you that in private. Now I'm telling the people, my people in this country, what that little fella is. And Stuart Jack was the same way.
Okay. We want to grab a few... Go ahead. We want to grab a few more callers, so.
They come here, and it's personal, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now you can deal with that one.
Hearing you. Okay, will do. Let's grab another caller before we go to the commercial break. Paul, caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. How are you today, together with your listeners?
I'm fine. How are you? I read your question. I read your question or your comments as well.
Yes. You're kind enough to read it and so on, and I heard the answer to that. But I just sort of want to pick up where the question and the answer left off. I mean, it's very sad what has happened, right? I mean, from the time I came to Cayman, first time in August 2003, I've never gotten to know that, in fact, the governor and the minister could have that kind of exchange. I mean, it's the first time. Maybe it has happened before. So it's a little bit concerning. But I'll tell you what the issue is. I know there's been talk about racism. Always those issues, as you know, OC, they're very difficult to deal with, because sometimes racism is direct, sometimes is subtle, and so I don't want to touch that one, but maybe there might have been something like that. And then also, there's the issue of the language which the Honorable Saunders used. I mean, he didn't use any F word, but you go home and that kind of thing, colonialism. Again, I don't want to be too holier than thou. But purely from an idealistic point of view, perhaps that was inadequate. But then when people have good relationships, maybe things have been brewing over time. Sometimes you do wind up there, and I'm not immune from that. But you see, what I want to address really is whether the governor, if it is in fact correct that he was pressuring the Legislative Assembly to pass this gambling bill, whether that is constitutional. That, I think, is a real issue, because that impacts potentially other pieces of legislation. You see, under Section 31 of the Constitution, as he said earlier on, he has power to look into issues of good governance. And then under Section 55 and 81, he can override the Legislative Assembly in specific areas, defense, internal...
Yeah, those areas that have been assigned to him as his responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah, so he can override. But then the way it seems to me, it seems that he was trying to informally override the processes of the Legislative Assembly in an area that doesn't come within those four.
Well, do we really know that, or was it? Could it have been while it was in cabinet?
Well, this is the thing, and that's why my comments have to be conditional, because according to the report that we read, was that when it was in cabinet, he didn't like the fact that they were sending it to a select committee. He wanted them to pass it. That's according to what we have read.
Okay.
Now,
because I thought the decision to send it to the select committee was made in the Parliament.
Well, either way, it is not legally significant whether it was made in well, first of all, you are right, it was made in Parliament. But you see, under Section 81, as you know, OC, it says that if the governor is of the view that a bill might not pass, or that they don't want to introduce it, then he can override, or that he can say, you are wasting time. I'm going to use Section 81. He is free to do that, but I don't think he should go behind the scenes to try and pressure them, because to me, if you pressure them, especially that, as you rightly say, the decision was made in Parliament, it means he is interfering with the internal processes of government.
Got you. Okay.
Which are themselves the constitutional issues, and I think that's where he went wrong. But I've been on for a while. Let me just conclude on a small point. I think this governor has failed to ensure that the judiciary is held accountable. Up to now, OC, from the time that this matter was brought to his attention regarding the rules which are necessary to ensure that people can complain against judges, he has left without ensuring those are in place. They are 7 years overdue, and from the time I communicated with him, it has been 2 years, and he has kept punting it to say, well, this is for the elected government, and yet that's a constitutional matter relating to good governance. Right now, the Ombudsman, OC, is failing to get out of the judiciary the details of how many judges were complained against, the result of that, and so on. Despite the fact that a decision was eventually made on review in the judiciary to say that they should give me the information relating to the judges complained against. They have refused to give it to me. It's been 3 months, and even the Ombudsman now is saying, keeps asking them every month. Those are things that the governor should have dealt with before leaving.
Okay.
Thank you, OC.
Thank you very much, caller Paul. How many callers we have on hold? We have 2 callers. Callers, hang in there. 3 callers. We're going to have about 12 minutes to handle 3 callers. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly. We're going to try to accommodate all of you.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Look at you, listening to the radio, tuning in, getting stuff done. Total doer. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting your oil changed, or grabbing some chicken. Maybe you're doing something that's nobody's business but yours. Hey, that's cool. We're all doing something. Now you can join a whole new community of doers doing more on findyellow.com. With custom search, local experts, and trusted reviews, whatever you're doing, get it done on findyellow.com.
love to do with my family? Go fishing. I can put the bait on and cast and reel the line all by myself. My mommy and daddy say when they were little, there were plenty more fish to catch, but now there are lots more people fishing, so it's harder to find them. That's why we have marine parks now. They set some areas aside so the fish there can have babies and grow bigger. Then they swim out to other areas where I can catch them. Having the marine parks means there will still be fish there when I'm grown up and fishing with a family of my own.
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have 10 minutes left to go in the show. We have 3 callers, so I need not remind each caller that someone is waiting behind them. Some of you may say, well, I did give, a lot of leash to some of our previous callers, and I have to admit that as well. But these calls, came in afterwards, but we're going to accommodate you. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir.
I just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, as a British overseas territory, and those of us who have British passports, if England was to find themselves in a war, and for some reason they ran short of soldiers to fight in that war, would our young men in the Cayman Islands be drafted into that war by force?
Well, those who are British citizens, if you as a British citizen, you have all of the rights and obligations of a British citizen. Now, we know in some areas there might be residency requirements. For instance, as a British citizen here in the Cayman Islands, I don't believe that I have the ability to vote in the United Kingdom because there may be some residency requirements. As far as military service is concerned, I am not sure. But I would say that if the people of Cayman are like they were during the World War II, and even during the Falklands War, where we gave the United Kingdom over $1 million to help support them in the war, those who really feel that the British blood flows through their veins, they would probably volunteer anyway. But from a legal standpoint, I think there may be some residency requirements. I hope that helps, caller.
Yes, because England right now is meddling in a lot of things and following just about anything the United States decides to do.
Well, what they're doing is that they're standing up to their international obligation to ensure that tyranny does not run rampant throughout the world, and we don't end up with another World War I or World War II situation where we have to defend it. So that's why you have to nip it in the blood. And if you're talking about Ukraine and Russia, then yes, we need a robust position to be taken in relation to Russia and its expansionist policies.
Yes, well, Mr. Orrett Connor. I'd just like to say that China and Russia will win World War III. It's not if they will.
There's not going to be any. If there's a World War III, there's not going to be any winner, my friend. No winner.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah. OC?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to be quick because we're running out of time and I have another caller on hold.
Yes. I'm going to make it sweet and short, long and short. I just feel that the people of these islands need to know exactly why and what happened in the government just a couple of days ago, because no one in the government is above the law. These MPs need to tell the public what happened, because the people of this island who put them in there, and we should not be in undercover to protect them with what they did in the house, and not it, so it doesn't happen again, or whatever the case may be. And the people of the island needs to know what is happening.
Good point.
I just wanted to say that.
Good
Thank
point.
you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Just fine, thank you. I'll be as brief as possible. I'd just like to say that I'm sorry I missed His Excellency.
Mm-hmm.
I found him to be a very, very amenable, very nice person. I'm speaking on my own opinions of him. I had several times to have discourse with him, and he and I have toured through the old St. James House they call Pedro Castle, where I work. And we have toured dignitaries from England together, and we have toured His Royal Highness, who is now King of England, His Majesty, Prince Charles III and the Duchess. And I have a photograph of that, and I'm very thankful and grateful for that honor. And to be with him, and I've met him on a few other occasions, and I was very impressed that he chose to call me and ask me personally to do those things.
Okay.
And it meant a lot to me, and I do think he had a great interest in the people of the Cayman Islands. I spoke to him, and we talked, and the only other governor I had a close relationship really was, personal relationship, was Governor Long. Ace Long, who's buried over there in the East Family Cemetery. Many times we will always find fault with the governor and so forth, and I don't disagree with Mr. McLean's position or whatever, and the others. But we've got to remember that our economic problems, our economic woes, the traffic problem, is wholly in the hands of our
local, yes.
And our economic woes. Particularly, we have a health insurance problem that can be solved only by them. The traffic problem, courage. The economic woes, courage. That one word Sir Winston Churchill used. And you're absolutely right. There'll be no winner in any third world war at all.
Nope.
The United States is still the most powerful, strongest economy in the world that the world has ever seen. Trust me, there are weapons that they have other countries simply do not have. There will be no winner, and I don't think that will happen. They will find a way to solve it. We have got a lot of politics going on in the United States. It's all politics right now by the present holder of the White House. We know that, and we can see. Don't be too concerned about it. It'll work itself out. And we work our problems out here also. You've got to remember, our own elected representatives have to deal with our problems. I see no reason whatsoever for a waste of time and money on a referendum on gambling. I see none whatsoever. It's not necessary. I refuse to accept that. I'm disappointed in that view. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, call as well. Folks, bye. I have to share this with you because I keep talking about it, and I'm going to talk some more about it, that if we are not careful, the Cayman Islands, we're going to find ourselves in a serious situation, and we're going to be accused, and probably rightly so, of human trafficking in this country. Now, for our listeners and our viewers, it is important to know what human trafficking involves. Human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. Every year, millions of men, women, and children are trafficked worldwide, including right in the United States. It can happen in any community, and victims can be any age, race, gender, or nationality. Traffickers might use the following methods to lure victims into trafficking situations. And I'm going to read some of those because some of those some of those methods are taking place here in the Cayman Islands. So violence, manipulation, false promises of well-paying jobs, romantic relationships. Here in the Cayman Islands, I would say manipulation and false promises of well-paying jobs. It is incumbent upon the structures that we have in place, the departments that we have in place, to ensure that we do not fall prey to what is happening in other countries, and we are not accused and charged of human trafficking in this country. We need to take a serious look of those companies in the Cayman Islands that are employing laborers and then farming them out to other companies as well. They are using people. They are promising them salaries. They are deducting monies from their salaries. People, while we see court cases and they drag through the courts so very slowly, many instances where pensions are still not being paid by employers. We need to get this thing in hand. Otherwise, the Cayman Islands are going to be put on that list of countries that promote and encourage human trafficking. And how do we do it in the Cayman Islands? We do it by false promises of well-paying jobs, or we use fraud to obtain labor as well. I'm going to end with that, but I'm going to continue to push it because there's too much that is happening in this little country that we are simply ignoring it, and we continue to ignore it until the little scab starts to fester and it spreads and it becomes a cancer, and then it becomes an embarrassment to you because you try to cover it up, but everyone knows that it is there. Folks, I want to thank all of you this morning who participated. Again, I want to thank the governor for his being on the show. And just one more thing I need to say as well. In our conversation with Mr. McLean and his view in relation to governors having their personal agenda, I would say that there's a possibility that a governor may not come here with their personal agenda, but they may get here and see that there are certain things that need to be seriously addressed, and they make that a part of their agenda. I would subscribe to that theory more than a governor coming with their agenda, because in most instances, in all instances, they have never been governor of the Cayman Islands before. They have never been there. So other than what they have been told and what they have read, they know absolutely nothing. But it is quite possible that once they arrive here and they start to function, then they may see things that they may decide to take them on as their personal agenda. Some of you may disagree with me with that, but that is a view that I would take in that regard as well. So folks, I want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you.